Welcome back to Cali X Boxing 2.0. Teofimo Lopez has decided to unretire from his 30-day retirement and unrelinquish his relinquished belt. This sport right here, man, this sport is just, oh my God. So yeah, now Teofimo is keeping the belt, the WBO. This according to WBO's president and Teofimo himself on Twitter, which we'll get to in a minute. And look, none of this is shocking. Teofimo likes being in the public. He likes being talked about. And he enjoys big fights. And he enjoys showing up in big fights, as he's proven. And as his gift suggests here, he ain't leaving. Look, we'll talk about the good and the bad of this. The good is Teofimo Lopez is good for boxing. He's a fun young star. And it's better for him to have that belt than it become vacant and Ramirez and Barboza possibly fight for it, or Devin Haney versus Barboza. Nothing against those fights or fighters, but Teofimo earned the lineal championship by beating Josh Taylor, and you'd like to see him keep it. Now to the confusing and complex part of this. What is this word jargon here? There's no reason for him to give up the belt until he's forced to. He was trying to be proactive because he wants to retire, but there was no reason to vacate yet. Let me translate this real quick. We ain't vacating. We ain't retiring. We're using all this as leverage. It is what it is. Look, I'm sure Teofimo has seen Jermall Charlo not fight in almost 800 days and keep a belt. I'm sure he's seen Tyson Fury retire and unretire a million times. And he's saying, why not me? Why can't I use belts and retirement as leverage in negotiations? And he's taking his turn. Like I said, this just isn't a serious sport. It is what it is. Let's just sit back and enjoy it and be entertained. And this is what set this off today. Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney both had big decisions to make according to the WBO. If Teofimo Lopez decided to relinquish the belt, then Devin Haney would have a shot to move up and fight Barboza for the vacant belt. And if he decided not to fight for the vacant belt, then it would be Barboza versus Ramirez. You keeping up so far? But instead, Teofimo Lopez decided at the 11th hour to keep the belt. And according to Teofimo Lopez, if you want to believe Teofimo Lopez on this, it was because Devin Haney was about to exercise the option to fight Barboza for the vacant belt, and he wasn't having any of that. He then went on to call out Devin Haney on Twitter, saying, if you want the WBO belt, you got to come through me. And oh, by the way, you're the B-side in these negotiations. Look, Teofimo and Devin have had bad blood for a while. It dates back to Devin Haney getting his hands on a belt that Teofimo feels like he shouldn't have got his hands on at 135. That kept him from technically becoming undisputed in the weight. And then Devin Haney then leveraged that belt into a fight with Kambosos, a guy that Teofimo lost to, and then Devin beat him. Teofimo feels like he's the better fighter. Devin feels like he's the better fighter. And we've got bad blood here. The good news with Devin Haney is he has many options, and all of them are great options, especially for boxing fans. Haney versus Lomachenko 2, Haney versus Shakur, Haney versus Teofimo here, Haney versus Prograis for the WBC, all great options. And although Haney versus Teofimo would be at the top of that list for a lot of people, my instincts tell me it's the least likely out of all of those scenarios, being that Haney would be the B-side in only one of those scenarios, and that's against Teofimo Lopez. So expect there to be a lot of back and forth between these two guys before they eventually meet each other at 140. This is a collision course. It is going to happen at some point. I just don't feel like it's next. But in the meantime, Teofimo Lopez has kept the WBO belt. It's still in his hands. He is the WBO 140-pound champion. And we'll see what Devin Haney does next. And the dominoes should fall from there.